All right. So, Bill Burr is showing people what an actual working class comedian with talent looks like, which is standing very much as perhaps an unintentional, perhaps an intentional contrast with untalented fake working guy Joe Rogan. So I'm gonna look at some of that contrast of the difference between how a real working class perspective sounds when measured against a nepo baby from South Africa destroying your destroying your government and owning your president. All right, so Bill Burr has been dropping banger after banger. It really seems to have started around Luigi. All the way back in December, he was saying some things about Luigi that were making some of the rich folks simp very uncomfortable. This
Which was
he's
irresponsible because Luigi didn't do anything. So,
Luigi didn't do anything, so I don't know why he's framing that poor
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
But this is something he said more recently in February, and this kind of battle with a certain portion of his fan base, something I can find very relatable personally. See, people are getting more and more triggered by some of what he's saying.
And if you work a full fucking week at a job, you should be able to pay your fucking rent. You shouldn't have to go out and get a fucking job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country because then the kids don't see their parents and they're not getting the upbringing that they need. It's so fucking, these fucking billionaires, they need to be put down, you know, like fucking rabid dogs. They're like rabid with fucking greed and just going out and just dividing everybody.
Huh. Well, that sounds like a man speaking truth to power. Let's hear what it sounds like when somebody who's supposed to represent working people just turns into an oligarch knob gobbler. Let's hear that. There's a little bit of we've shown this quite a bit. This is Rogan's interview with Mark Andreessen, whose company Synapse literally robbed old ladies of their life savings.
This is where a lot of the debanking comes from, is these agencies. So debanking is when you as either a person or your company are literally kicked out of the banking system.
Like they did to Kanye.
Exactly, like they did to Kanye. My partner Ben's father has been debanked.
Really?
We had an employee who
For what?
For having the wrong politics, for saying unacceptable things.
Wow. You hear the difference? You hear the difference between what a real working class comic with actual talent sounds like and a hack comic who lucked into a podcasting gig at a time when nobody was really in that space and blew up because of it, but has no particular talent. You see the difference between that?
You know, you sound so jealous.
Yeah. You know what's funny? If you attack like Barack Obama, who's got more money than I'll ever see in my life, you're not jealous.
Right.
But if it's rich people they like, you're jealous. So brain trust that he is, Ben Shapiro, a famous Zionist supremacist, attacked Bill Burr. Burr has become woke. Over time, I think he became embarrassed that many people on the right thought he was very funny. So he decided he was going to go woke. And Burr was asked about this by the New York Times. And in a classic Burr response, he said, all he knew is if he put woke on what he said, he would make more money. I don't know who he is, but that guy is a jerk off. Well said, Mr. Burr. Well said. But now he really started to upset the chuds because he started going after their daddy.
Their boyfriend.
He started going after their dream date, Elon.
Their man. Their bull.
Yeah. Let's hear a little of that.
I made fun of the fucking Twitter guy for fucking Sieg Heiling not once but twice. And I never look at my emails. I was scrolling through my emails and it said my Twitter account had been flagged for I don't even tweet anymore. It had been flagged for whatever. What a fucking baby. Just like Hitler. A fucking baby. The fact that the Twitter guy he's not even from here. He's from South Africa. He comes to this country and wants to turn it into a fucking dictatorship. He doesn't feel that we deserve democracy. Can you just imagine doing that? Going to another country and and just deciding, yeah, you know what? I'm going to change this form of government because I've decided. Yeah, he doesn't mind living under a dictatorship as long as he's on the good side of it.
So, he lit into Elon, something that he keeps doubling and tripling down on. I find his whole trajectory very relatable. I'm sure my erstwhile partner does as well. So then, he's been saying very complimentary things about Luigi, who didn't do anything.
Right. We don't condone violence.
We don't
just
condone.
don't think we think they have the wrong guy.
They have the wrong guy. We don't condone whoever did that terrible thing.
Right.
So this precipitated a lot of meltdowns right here. He keeps saying free Luigi in different settings. This was in an interview he was giving about shoes.
Brought it back a couple of times, and they went with cheaper leather.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because some corporate had to give himself a fucking bonus check at the end of the year. What if we made it worse, but made it look the same?
Yeah.
Then could our pools be bigger?
Not
Free
okay.
Luigi!
And you can see every time he does this with an interviewer, they're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, it's a nervous laughter. Yeah,
they get very nervous. You won't see it visually, but it happened also with Kimmel interview he did. Now I just want to say I wanted to call this out a little bit. When the libs first started saying that DEI was another way of saying the N-word, I pushed back on that because it was so typical of the libs to try to shut down conversation and debate by ruling any opposing viewpoint as racist or sexist or homophobic and so on and so on. And certainly they were doing that. Certainly they were trying to shut down any kind of critique of DEI by calling it racist by definition. But now I'm sure there was always some people who really were using it that way. Now that the culture war has been won, clearly DEI is, a dying thing. The only people really using that now are using it as a substitute for the N-word. Case in point, this fucking piece of garbage. Wow, what a sick FK. I guess his DEI wife is pulling his leash extra tight lately. So this is his beautiful wife. And Mr. Christopher says it very well here. Calling Bill Burr's wife a DEI wife when we know what she really wanted to say. His beautiful wife's name is Nia Renee Hill. Yes. At that point, what? Every non-white person who's not bagging groceries is a DEI person. Oh, but what makes her a DEI wife?
Well, this goes back
like
to
what else could you possibly be saying?
Well, obviously, that's obviously the way they mean it. I mean, this goes back. It wasn't used exclusively in this way until now, which was
Right.
what you're saying. But
That's
the fucking Constantine piece of shit he called Brianna Gray, the DEI Barbie. Yeah.
Right. Yes, there was always an element of that, but there was also legitimately libs were trying to shut down a critique of DEI by dishonestly smearing people that way when it wasn't appropriate. Now at this point, DEI is over. It's over. The Supreme Court basically made a ruling that it has made corporations, even if they ideologically agree with it, which we've always said they don't, they just thought that was the way to make some money and to cover over their economic practices and social inequity by pretending to champion these causes. They never really believed in it. But now their legal departments are telling them to shut it down. So the war is over. That's it.
Right.
So if you're still using that as a talking point, now you're down to the people who are using it as clearly as the N-word.
A slur. Yeah.
As a slur. What does that mean, a DEI wife? What does that mean?
Right.
Like you're not good enough to be a wife? Like what else could that possibly mean? So moving along. So Bill Burr, yeah, man, I find this very relatable. Like he could see that he's really triggering people with the Elon stuff, and he's not backing off. He keeps doubling down. He also had something to say here about all of the fire experts who had a lot to say about the LA fires and the way that they're manipulated and directed to look at homeless people and not insurance companies.
All the chatter out there is about bands of illegal immigrants and homeless people lighting fires. They light fires every day. They're living outside. They're cold. And this theory that some homeless guy without a car went from Altadena all the way to the Pacific Palisades, and then we have a hang glider. And they're talking about looting, but CNN and Fox News are not going to bring up the insurance companies that are just going to keep everybody's premiums and still give themselves a bonus. Yeah. Yes. Free Luigi. I love how they acted surprised. Why did that happen? I have no idea. He wrote on the bullets why it happened.
Oh, we're back to Luigi. Okay, yeah.
I never left Luigi.
Even without the visual, you can hear in his voice that Kimmel is shitting himself.
Right.
Oh, we're back to Luigi. Okay, but I didn't really see. There was some conservative commentary here and there, like Shapiro, but I didn't see all of the ecosystem kind of coalesce into attacking Bill Burr until I bet you can guess what the inciting incident was that made them all get the phone call at the same time to go after Bill Burr and call him woke and try to undermine his audience. I bet you can guess what he criticized that triggered that. I bet you can guess. Watch.
Allowed to do that, but it's still socially acceptable to shoot a missile in the general direction of somebody you're upset with. You're like, dude, there was like kids over there. This is my favorite response. Well, they're using kids as human shields. It's like, well, you got to work around that. Jesus Christ, if I'm mad at my neighbor and I want to beat the shit out of him, but he's holding a baby, right? I wouldn't come in and try to punch him through the baby. Yeah, you go in, you throw a hook, you sweep the legs. You do it on the lawn so the baby bounces off the grass, all right? There's fucking rules to this shit.
Right on cue. All the grifters. Paul Joseph Watson, America's biggest cock. Patriot twins. Bill Burr goes on woke, unhinged rant. Fuck Elon. Bill Burr implodes. Articles, Outkick. Bill Burr, who used to be a genuinely funny comedian, has become such an insufferable, Trump-hating loser. Bill Burr's wild rant likens Elon Musk to Hitler, questions why troops aren't taking him down. This was in a Breakfast Club appearance he did. Random guy, appropriately named, responding to Colin Rugg, who was also having a lot of Sturm und Drang about his act. Dude, what happened to Bill Burr? He always seemed kind of in the center and said things that each side liked and each side hated. Now he seems firmly entrenched in the far left camp, and it seemed to happen, as far as I can tell, out of nowhere. Okay, well, let's see. Did Bill Burr change? Did he change? Did he used to be different? Or was he always kind of in a place that is familiar to both of us, an anti-woke, genuinely left person with a working class perspective? This is 10 years ago on Conan O'Brien talking about Nestle.
Stuff that they focus on. You know what I mean? There's a guy from Nestle that doesn't think water is a human right. I mean, that guy should be hunted down and shot. Yeah. Right? And they're going to sit and just talk about talking about all the, I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, we got to get America back to work.
It's like, dude, this guy wants to own the rain. Can we do something about this guy? He was at Nestle. You're supposed to be happy, like making cocoa for people. And this guy's like going, well, people are running out of water. What if we owned all the water and we kept it under our place? And in the future, when everybody's, that's how you picture the guy talking. I want to own the water. I want to have it underneath my house. And just, I'll come to the door in a robe, slightly ajar. Right? It's a complete animal.
Doesn't seem like he's changed at all. That 10 years ago, he was talking like that. Long before Luigi. I mean, if you watch that and you ask somebody, what would they have to say about Luigi? You'd predict exactly what he had to say about it, right? I mean, he's not with us that Luigi didn't do anything, and we certainly don't advocate violence. But hey, he hasn't changed. You know who has changed? Give you a hint.
Believe if Michelle Obama runs, she wins. She's good. She's great. She's the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime. I've never voted right wing in my life. I consider universal basic income a really good idea. I want free college education. Take it easy. Hello, Bernie.
How are you, Joe?
Wonderful. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like Tulsi and I like Bernie. That's it.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else can eat shit.
Look at you, fucking progressive.
Yeah. I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. I think he's looking out for the interests of the working people. And I think he wants people to have a better life and do better. And I'm all for that. And if that means I have to pay more in tax, like people think, oh, you're a socialist. I've heard people say that. Oh, you're a fucking socialist, bro. Like, first of all, he's not even a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. It's a different thing. I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and throw a fuckload of them. Spend more, you fucking Republican piece of shit. 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming. I'm very pro-choice. I'm very women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, trans rights. I'm even universal health care. Obviously, this protected status is driving me crazy. This thing that Trump's doing with children that were born in other countries and then brought over here as children, and then they're talking about deporting them. That drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah,
that kind of shit. And the hard right version of that is despicable. These people that I see online, why didn't they apply for citizenship? Oh, who knows? Maybe because they're fucking 13. I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't. You know Alonzo?
No, who's that?
A funny comedian.
Yeah.
He said, he goes, not all Donald Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Donald Trump supporters.
He definitely awakened that side.
Huh. Well, that seems like he's changed a lot, right? You don't hear him saying anything like that. Joe Rogan, who still has not had Whitney Webb on his show, and according to Whitney Webb in her public tweeting, she's never been asked. That's a weird oversight, isn't it? It's a weird oversight. She's come up on his show multiple times. Well, let's listen to what he sounds like now interviewing Elon.
Here's what's weird. First of all, what is it like to buy a company for $44 billion and then people call you a Nazi on that same thing that you bought?
I did not see it coming. It's classic. People will go anything down.
Yeah. Oh, he's never going to stop.
Wait, what?
What is it like? Like all this, people used to, the left was in love with you.
Yeah.
And now the same idiots are calling you a Nazi. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life.
Little different from the Joe Rogan that you see in those clips. So it doesn't really seem like it's Bill Burr changed. It seems like it's probably Joe Rogan who's changed. The reason that they're coming after him like that, Bill Burr's their worst nightmare. An actually funny, talented comic with a critique of Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and the oligarchs, not very different from the critique that Joe Rogan had before he got all that Spotify money.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny how it's almost like a switch flips and they all come after him all at once after the Israel thing drops. It's amazing how all these people, they're such men until this foreign country, our close ally that's, doing the very manly work of murdering innocent men, women, and children like fish in a barrel. When you go after them, they all mobilize all at once. It is funny how that happens, isn't it? And it's funny how the people who really are part of this whole manosphere cult really brand themselves such masculine figures. They all fall in line like the lemmings they are, like the sheep they are, when somebody talks shit about Israel. And I don't know how it happens. I don't know if they get a call. I don't know if they just know where their bread is buttered enough to know that this is a place they can't go. But yeah, man, I mean, after, like I said, that piece that you showed of him on Conan, that was, 10 years ago. Even the Luigi stuff didn't really land him in hot water. Little bit here and there. But
Shapiro.
yeah, Elon and Israel.
What Shapiro says.
Yeah, Elon and Israel. Those are the big things. Those are the
Once
big
he
things.
started doing that, but it was really when his comedy special dropped on Hulu this week and he had that Israel bit, because
Yeah.
I pay attention to conservative media. And I saw them bitch here and there, but it didn't rise to the level that it really got on my radar until this week, because they
Right.
all did it at the same time. What
Right.
happened this week? His comedy special dropped where he went after Israel. Like, yeah, they've been getting upset about him attacking Elon, but the Israel thing is what really threw the switch. And again, he's their worst nightmare. He's their worst nightmare. He's such a obvious contrast to their fake version of valuing working class people. That's the real thing. That's the real thing. That's what we've been saying for the whole history of the show. That most real left people are not woke. That is something that, in order to neuter the left, they've brainwashed people into thinking that those two things are synonymous. Bill Burr is the real thing. Joe Rogan, at this point, however he started out, whatever he was supposed to be, at this point, his job in the ecosystem, just like Oprah's job in Hollywood, is to scrub the reputations of perverts. Rogan's job in the podcasting world is to scrub the reputations of oligarch thieves who are destroying the country. His job is to give those guys a regular guy seal of approval, even though he himself is a multi-millionaire many times over, who identifies much more with people like Elon and Mark Andreessen than he identifies with the people in his audience, who, as you saw, he used to speak out for their interests. He got that Spotify money. He doesn't talk that anymore.
No, now the purpose of his show, as far as politics goes, is to justify his wealth. That is basically what his views are, insofar as he has them. And you know, the thing about Burr is that Burr, he has this sort of everyman sensibility about him, right? He projects
for real.
He projects an everyman quality. Well, and the reason why it comes off as sincere in his case is because he doesn't make lifestyle branding part of his presentation, right? The thing that always exposed the manosphere as just a giant grift, a giant I won't say fraud, but it's a grift. It's a very sort of salesman like endeavor. That, you know, Rogan, Alex Jones with the supplements, it's all about convincing people who don't have much going on in their lives that they're actually real men, right? It's just you are marketing this sort of fantastical vision of masculinity to people who are mostly, for the most part, extremely insecure about their own masculinity. And
exactly.
the reason why Bill Burr is more authentic in this way is because he doesn't go out of his way to market him as to market himself as a lifestyle brand to be emulated. He's a comic. He tells jokes. He tells jokes, and he is who he is.
Wow.
Right? And he talks like, it's funny. And he talks like, you know, the working class guy from the bar in Boston or whatever. And that's just how he sounds. All right? He doesn't make that part of the brand. He just is who he is naturally. Anybody selling you a lifestyle is creating a version of themselves that they want you to invest in.
Right.
There's something very narcissistic about that, and there's something very phony about that. There's something very, very manufactured about that, and that's why I love the, you know, now you're seeing people. I don't know if this Bill Burr's career is organic. I don't know if he's being propped up by somebody. He's been around forever. He's been around forever. He's doing well. He's always done well. He's done well because he's good.
Right, and those same people will not think that about Joe Rogan, who will not have Whitney Webb on. Who will not?
Right.
Why do you think he won't have Whitney Webb on? What do you think he's afraid she's gonna say? What do you think, she's not on his radar? It is not. He's talked about her on his show. She's not big enough. He's had people much less stature than Whitney Webb on that show. Yeah, no, he's scared to have her on. You know, Bill Burr, as we demonstrated, that Conan clip, he hasn't changed a bit. It's Rogan who has changed. And God bless him that he keeps, as I said, in our own small way, I relate to it. He's clearly doubling, tripling down to troll the chuds who are coming at him now.
Oh yeah.
He just
well, any
every
good comic
interview
would.
he seems to mention Elon and Musk and Luigi. He keeps mentioning Luigi in like every interview. God bless him, man. His podcast seems like just a fun project for him. I wish he would try to build it up. I decided not to include it because it would have been a whole other thing. But the libs still haven't learned anything either. Because on the one hand, they want to embrace Burr because he's successfully trolling Musk in a way that they're not capable of, and he's trolling Trump in a way they're not capable of. At the same time, they can't cope with the anti-woke stuff. They still haven't learned their lesson. So you're having articles in MSNBC and Slate that are very condescending. His politics are very muddled, but he's saying some really great things, but he doesn't seem to get it. No, he fucking gets it. And you know what? If you had any sense, you'd recruit 100 politicians who sound exactly like him.
Right. Exactly.
Please clap.